Well, guess what I found in the barn? I think this mast will work out a lot better for the wooden boat here than the one it came with, which means I'll have to reset the mast step, or redo the mast step, excuse me. I like this mast though. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of work on it. It's solid. It's just got a separation crack down the middle, but we can glue and clamp that. I will remove the sail track on it because I'd like to stay as old and traditional as possible. So we'll probably do a hank on with a gaff rig and the dead eyes. I think you saw in one of the other videos I've got dead eyes that go on the boat. So we'll have to come up with a way to work the dead eyes into the hull structure, because I am not drilling a bunch of holes in this wooden boat. This boat is beautifully made. Yeah, some construction things that stick out on this boat for me is the attention to detail. Again, I don't think the builder was specifically looking for a period in time in which to build the boat, but more the detail in keeping with a wooden boat, such as the bronze fasteners inside, holding the ship's planking together. So again, I think the mast will be a good choice if we can do the work on it that needs to be done. So we'll set it aside without dropping it. Break it. Then the oars are in pretty good shape. There's a couple that'll have to be glued on the ends where there's some cracking. Yeah, still pretty solid. We'll glue them and fill them full of sawdust and then work them down and re-varnish them. Probably just stay with teak oil on the boat. I considered boiled linseed oil, but we'll try teak oil and stay with that. Dagger board is in great shape. Again, just kind of needs a protective coating on it. And then, of course, the boat will be stored inside the garage on the back side of the farm. Okay, so with the mast being a little thicker at the bottom, we'll have to redo the mast step here. I don't think that's going to be much of an issue. Again, I don't want to start cutting this boat apart, but I do want it to have more of a period look. So if I can muster up enough backside, I'll raise this 2-pounder in the bow and see if that's feasible, or we may just stay with the 2-pound swivel. Okay, let's see if I've got enough backside to lift this. Now I know it won't fit perfectly, not even close. We'll have to add another board in the bow. And I'm not sure I can even do it without getting myself or somebody else drowned. So, but yeah, we'll put another board in the back of the cannon here and raise it level. But again, we'll have to test it and see. We'll put it in the water. Of course, not being undersail, we'll take it out to the lake behind the farm and try it. Second option is the swivel. Be a whole lot lighter. So if I can lift this back out of here, let's try the swivel. So, okay, same barrel, but without the ship's cannon. Or excuse me, ship's carriage. So that might be a little bit smarter alternative. I forged the trunnion holders some time ago and they've held up really well, so we'll see if that's not a viable option. I got to be careful of the forestay. Make sure I don't get in the way of that. So we'll see. But again, the goal is to make our gunship like Ulrich. And I don't think that'll be too much of a chore. So after with consulting Josh Wilson, who gave me permission to use his name, He's kind of like my naval architect and historian. We came up with, or we came to the same conclusion that spider just doesn't fit this boat. Now, we do have research that there was I believe it was a French frigate, don't quote me on that, that was named Spider, that didn't stay in French hands very long as the British captured it. But yeah, the name Spider was definitely an 18th century boat name. I think what we'll do though is go with the name Acrimony, and I'll get into the meaning of that later on in another video. But so after, what are we up to, about 20 toasts to Poseidon, changing the name on this boat? Nah, I'm kidding, but you know, again, I think we'll go ahead and change the boat name to Acrimony. So there's a few things, like I said, I still want to change on it to make it more of an 18th century boat, but I will not sacrifice the design of the boat or the hull integrity or anything like that to switch it to more period correct. Again, it's not that important to me. But dead eyes, all rope, standing rigging, and of course running rigging. Couldn't find hemp, so I went with some really nice manila, and we'll see how that holds up. The blocks, it's getting almost impossible to find blocks in antique stores anymore. There's like anvils. I haven't seen an anvil in an antique store in years, and I used to buy them all the time. Same with the blocks, so I'll probably have to make my own blocks, which time consuming, but shouldn't be that hard. There's plenty of sawmill wood up in the barn that would help me with that and make really nice white oak blocks. So that's the plan so far. We're going to keep you updated as we transition Acrimony into more of an 18th century boat, including making our own 18th century clothing that's period correct for the boat and the presentation we're trying to make. And again, Josh Wilson will help keep us out of trouble there. So it's kind of a toss-up between early 18th century and late 18th century, but I think to keep in tune with a buddy of mine, Jason, kind of coincide with what he's doing, it'll probably be early 18th century, which I'm more colonial period, Rev-War period. And I've done, you know, documentaries and film of that period, but I don't know much about Queen Anne's War or the early 18th century, but I guess it's time to learn. It'll be fun making the uniforms, and when we're thinking slops and European shirt, and then maybe just a toque, toboggan, or some type of tarred headwear, depending on what's appropriate. So stay tuned. Well, welcome to the land of unfinished projects. So we talked earlier about the, I mean, everybody has unfinished projects, but I really have unfinished projects. It won't quit raining. See, wet. It's getting a little ridiculous here. Just about every day we're getting rain. Kind of turn it into a rainforest. So, Pacific Northwest has nothing on West Virginia at the moment. Anyway, enough of the griping and complaining. Yeah, there's still some projects that, well, a lot of projects that are in the works, and we'll keep videoing them as we progress on them. One of which is the wooden mast we talked about earlier for the wooden boat Acrimony. I have it here, and we'll look at it a little closer, take some hardware off of it, and see what we've got. But I think it's going to work. I like the length, the height, and I like the fact that it's not an oblong shaped wooden mast like the mast that came with the boat. It's round, so to make it easier to do a Hanklin type sail configuration. So, all right, let's start taking hardware off and fixing some cracks. Okay, so here's the mast. Yeah, and it's got a little bit of separation. Okay, it's got a lot of separation. But I think we'll be okay with some good clamps and wood glue. Glue it back. While I got this stuff out, let's show you the oilcloth I'm thinking about using for the sail. As you can tell, it's already catching wind out here in the 50 mile an hour plus winds we're having today. But it's waterproof without being too heavy. And And to say it's 100% period, that's not going to be correct. But I think for the project here, it's what we're going to go with. I could use canvas, or excuse me, linen. Cotton duck really wasn't around at that time that I'm aware of. If it was very limited in availability. So I think we'll go with the canvas here. If I try and do boil linseed on linen, honestly, I think I'll just have a mess. So we'll start off with this and see how it works. Let's take the mast apart. So we got the stays off of it. Yeah, it looks solid. That's a joke. No, there's no rod in it at all. And I'd rather it be in the shape that it's in so I can pry it apart and put a really good tight bond wood glue in there, then clamp it overnight. Of course, we'll lose the rail for the old sail. Again, I want to do Hank on for a more period look. But yeah, I think it'll work. And it was free, so can't go wrong there. Well, I guess you can if it breaks in two while you're sailing. Pretty good covering of glue on the mast. I've got two screws holding it on this end so that I can rotate it and not take off. So let's see if we can flip it 180 degrees and do it again. Again, we're just trying to get as much coverage as we can with the glue here so that we get a good bond. Such a good job. The wind has blown, yeah, the motorcycle cover underneath the glue. So there's something else to clean up. I love the wind. I truly do. But here on the farm, it drives me insane. You would think an enclosed valley in West Virginia wouldn't have so much freaking wind. Okay, so simply what I'm doing here is kind of sealing this up a little bit. It's still got a really strong bond. So the glue worked down into the crack. Maybe even add some sawdust later just to protect it. But for now, I think it'll do the trick. And making sure I work it down in these cracks really well. If I have to, I'll make a sawdust and wood glue slurry there and fill them with that. But I think we've got good coverage both sides, and it should do the trick. But yes, I will have a mess to clean up as usual. Hey, but I didn't get it on my clothes. Not yet. Okay, I want to make sure I get enough pressure on it that I see some squeeze out on it. we get a nice tight bond. Okay, to make sure that we're not getting this going on, I'm going to go ahead and put a couple that are horizontal. I'm starting to see it move a little bit, and I don't want that. I want it perfectly round and not egg-shaped. There we go. Now it's starting to come back. Yeah, good deal. Get some more clamps. Gets a lot tighter when you take all the wedges out of it. If you get a chance to invest in tarps, with this global warming, I would highly suggest that you take advantage of that, because it's not going to stop raining. All right, so now to get some rope and bungees and at least try and keep it in this county. I don't know where the wind will take it. Alrighty, I think we're good to go. I did so good until then. Okay, we'll see if it's going to be there in the morning.